Welcome to the Period Besties podcast with Stasha and Katie. Think about it as chatting with your best friends about all the TMI stuff you've never talked about before with two period coaches who've been helping hormones collectively for over 20 years now. I'm Stasha.
And I'm Katie, and we're pulling back the curtain on what it's like in the world of menstrual coaching. From puberty to menopause and everything in between, we're here to show you how period coaching can save the day. We'll share practical tips and information you can put to immediate use to improve your hormones and happiness.
We're removing the mystery, ending the taboo, and shining a light on just how powerful period coaching can be.
So whether you need period coaching or are considering becoming a period coach yourself, these episodes are going to help you. We'll share stories, coach live on air, and bring smart, savvy guests to share their wisdom too. Let's start today's episode.
Welcome back to the Period Besties podcast, and we have a very special episode for you today because we're talking how to really support yourself during PMS. And this is a topic that we get lots of questions on, something that I've noticed as I'm heading into perimenopause, shifting and changing as well. So it's also going to be a great reminder to myself to really nourish and take care of myself. We're going to share 5 ways and 5 quick tips that you can start adding in today to really help yourself during this time in that deep luteal, or even in the beginning of luteal. Many people start feeling it right after ovulation. So wherever you are in your cycle, whatever is happening, whenever you're starting to experience PMS, this is going to be a really awesome episode for you today.
Yeah, and you're in good company. 90% of us have some sort of PMS symptoms. So if you're listening to this, it probably means you. And just as a reminder, PMS is not a phase of your cycle. It is a hormonal imbalance. It's something that's easily fixed, and it's not just the curse, quote unquote, or, part of quote unquote being a woman or any of the other, nonsense that you may have been told. A, it's not your fault. It's the culture that you're living in. B, it's easily fixed. So why don't you kick us off with one of your favorite tips for reducing PMS?
We recently talked about this, but seed cycling is a great way to help support the different phase, the 2 main phases of your cycle. I know we've talked about the 5 phases of your cycle, but the 2 main phases, with that being the follicular, the first phase, and the luteal, the second phase. Because what you're doing is in the first phase, you're really boosting healthy estrogen. And then the second phase, more progesterone boosting. And I have to say, progesterone is my favorite hormone.
Yes, 100%.
Because I like to be calm. Maybe let me rephrase that. I like to find my calm. I'm not necessarily a calm person, which is why I gravitate towards progesterone. And I'm always looking for ways to support that in my cycle. And that's why I actually am really committed back to my seed cycling, because just turned 45, my periods have become a little bit more irregular. But the thing I've really noticed, which I find really fascinating, is about 5 days before I get my period is when I have PMS rage, which I've never experienced before. And especially that 5 days. And then it's like, I'm okay. And then I get my period. So before, it used to be the day before, and I would be crying and emotional and fighting with my partner. And it's 5 days before, and then it goes away. So that was a sign that started happening in the fall. And that's when I really recommitted to my seed cycling. And I've noticed a shift, a small change. And this, they're packed with zinc in the first phase, magnesium, lots of really great healing properties to help do that. So if you're interested in seed cycling, I really encourage you to listen to our episode. We break it down. It's honestly one of the easiest things that you can do to support the phases of your cycle and to really help that balance, that equilibrium between the 2. And it's easy. So you can just add them to smoothies, overnight oats, salads, bowls, trail mixes, on top of anything that you're eating. I even add them to my eggs. I love it.
I love it because it's something that you add in and it's super easy, which I'm a huge fan of things that you're adding in and making super easy. And actually, seed cycling takes you to my number one tip for people, which is adding in more fiber. So seed cycling increases your fiber. You do need more than that. So one of my number one tips that I tell people all the time is add in more fiber. You need to pull out some of those excess hormones. You need to pull out some of the, maybe junk food, that kind of stuff. So you need to have good fiber. If you're not having a nice, solid poop every day, you're not getting enough fiber. So you want to be making sure that you're getting enough fiber in. And the thing that I like about just saying fiber is that it doesn't mean that you have to go eat a bucket of kale, right? You can eat whatever is a fibery food that you enjoy. So that might mean adding in buckwheat, brown rice, dark leafy greens, lettuce, salads, hearty vegetables, celery, carrots. And in fact, I'm going to say bonus tip here, 1 raw carrot a day. Carrots have a specific fiber that helps bind to excess estrogen. So 1 raw carrot a day can actually help reduce your PMS symptoms. So I'm going to make this a 2-for-1 tip, more fiber, and make one of the things that you're doing a raw carrot, whether you shred it into a salad or eat it with hummus or have slices in your salad or whatever. But fiber, eat what you love, eat what you already like. Just be conscious of eating more of it.
Yes. I love that. I love that tip. Just 1 raw carrot a day. We can all do that. My favorite tip is magnesium. I love magnesium. I wish I had magnesium as a teenager. I wish I knew about magnesium in my early 20s. I think I would have been having a little bit of an easier time with stress because magnesium is an anti-stress mineral. When we get really stressed out, our body will deplete magnesium and B vitamins. So what I also think is interesting is B vitamins give you energy, but the more energy that you have, the calmer your body actually is. So magnesium and B vitamins are really key, and magnesium is great for keeping our body calmer throughout our whole cycle, but especially helping with PMS. So if you're able to get more magnesium into your body throughout your entire cycle, you will notice that PMS symptoms really coming down so much after each cycle. You'll notice a big, big difference. This is literally the number one thing I tell all my clients. All of us are deficient in magnesium, no matter if you feel stressed or you're not feeling stressed. Just living in 2024, we are stressed. Just getting into the car and going, I had to pick my boys up from school today and I was just driving, just doing that. Mm-hmm. Is stressful. I'm not saying that's making you stressed. It's just that it's stressful. So we want to be really mindful of getting in more dark leafy greens, avocados, which are my favorite, are full of magnesium and really great healthy fats.
Right? Avocados are also really full of fiber. So
tons of fiber.
Magnesium, healthy fat, fiber, all in one. Avocados forever, baby.
Oh my God. Yes. Good to keep your blood sugar balanced. The seeds from seed cycling, pumpkin seeds are great with magnesium, dark leafy greens. So many different things have magnesium. And honestly, if you're not getting enough from your food or if you're just still not feeling calm, I take magnesium every single night before I go to bed. I call it my healthy shot. I take an hour before I go to bed, and within an hour, I'm out. So not only is it helping with supporting my hormones, but I also get a deeper, more restful sleep, which is super beneficial for hormones, but it helps me stay asleep as well. So that's also another really great trick. And I know you love magnesium too, and you do the lotion, right?
Yeah, I do. I have the powder. I do find that it upsets my stomach sometimes, even a really small amount. Yeah. So I tend to do that when I'm in follicular ovulation, when I'm feeling stronger and not as, easily irritated and that kind of thing. Because it will bother my stomach. I think that's just the body set up with endometriosis. Pretty much everyone I know with endo has more stomach irritation than the normal person. But that's why I started doing the magnesium lotion. And in fact, my dad, who has restless legs and does not sleep, I got him magnesium lotion and had him start putting it on before he goes to bed at night. And he said he was sleeping better. So it worked for both of us, knowing that I am my father's child. I wasn't surprised that if it worked for me, I was not surprised that it worked for him as well. So I've been doing magnesium lotion. So I rub it all over my legs and my arms before I go to bed at night. So it's like a good chunk of my body is just slathered in magnesium lotion at night. But it does seem to make a difference. So I love it. And then that way I can also take that powder and drink it when I'm a little bit stronger. And then when I am a little bit more sensitive in that later luteal and menstrual phase, I can just do the lotion and I don't have to worry about irritating my stomach or anything.
Yeah, I love that. And doing Epsom salt baths too. Epsom salt, all magnesium. Put a little bit of like lavender or whatever scent you like with that essential oil. And if you don't have a bathtub, you could just do a foot soak. Yeah. Something that I did for years before having a nice bathtub that I cleaned regularly to take a bath in. So that's also something that you can do too. So if you don't have a tub, like you can do this.
Even if you have a tub, I mean, we have a big, beautiful bathtub, but when I had a job where I was working on my feet, I would come home and do a foot soak at the end of the day because it's just good for you. And my partner, who's on his feet for freaking ever during the day, I mean, he record breaking steps every day. I've been doing that for him where like, I just basically get the bucket out and, you know, he comes home because he doesn't think about it, but I'm like, babe, bucket, magnesium, sit and just put your feet in here, scroll for half an hour, and then you can come back into the world of the living. So yeah, especially for people who are on their feet, moms chasing kids, you know, service industry jobs, anything like that, a magnesium foot soak is so helpful for rejuvenating after all of that stuff. And then you get the added benefit of how it helps replenish your magnesium and reducing your PMS symptoms, right? Which also magnesium is one of the things that depletes, like you said, when you're stressed. So reducing stress is a good PMS tip. And I'm going to say just taking the mental load off. Stop judging yourself for being more tired or more introverted or not wanting to go out and do as many things. Or maybe you want to go out and do as many things, but you just don't feel awesome. Like stop beating yourself up in this phase for not feeling like $1,000,000, like you're in ovulation, because you're not in ovulation. You don't have the same hormones. It's just different and it's okay. And never before would we have judged us for resting, relaxing, kicking back, pamper yourself, like spiritual nourishment, take that hot bath, add in the magnesium, but also cut yourself some slack. Like give yourself the time to relax, to take the nap, to say no to the event. Just cutting yourself some slack is a huge tip in this phase. And it's going to make a big difference on your PMS symptoms.
Yeah. And I think that's something that's really challenging for a lot of us. You know, we kind of have been taught that we are the same person every single day. And as we've been talking about, you know, your hormones shift and change throughout your cycle, daily, small shifts. So really giving yourself that space to be in a different space, you know, I think it's just so important to be like, okay, like in a few days after I get my period and my energy starts coming up again in that follicular phase, like I'm going to start feeling like myself again. So something that I've done too is, you know, I'll make plans with friends and then I check my tracker and be like, oh, okay, I'm going to probably cancel on them. So I'm just going to move it to another week. Right. So also, I think a big piece of how I've been supporting myself is not overly scheduling myself, but also giving myself permission to change plans and not push myself into like that obligation or that thing that I was going to be doing. Same thing with exercise, you know, walks, just really rest. I feel like we have a hard time resting, myself included. I'm like, Katie, it's okay to rest.
Yeah.
It's okay to rest.
Oh, 100%. I mean, so many of us, I mean, there's so many memes of like, I'm a happy, bright pink person at 1 week. And then the next week I'm a swamp witch. And it's like, why can't I just be the happy, bright, shiny person all of the time? And what's wrong with me? And it's embrace your inner bog witch. I mean, just like you are more than one thing. You're more than one person. You're more than one personality. You're more than, we're all extrovert and introvert. We're all happy-go-lucky and have our pessimistic moments. Like we have all of these different, there is a world inside of us. And rather than trying to like define ourselves and pigeonhole ourselves into like, but I'm the happy person that does all of the things all of the time, just be like, I'm the happy person that does all of the things half the month. And then half the month, I am a swamp witch cursing the patriarchy with my menstrual blood. I don't know. But like, just go have some fun and like, don't pigeonhole yourself so much. Like, embrace all of you.
Yeah, I love that. And I think how beautiful would it be if we all just really embraced how we felt every day? Like, I felt great yesterday. Today, I'm just going to like give myself a break. I'm going to lay in bed for extra few minutes this morning, like I should have done this morning. And, really just asking other people to help and to support as well too, because the more that we share with the people we live with, our family, our friends, our partners, the more that they will also understand that you're not just, as my husband calls it, you're being mean to me. It's like, no, I'm getting my period. So this is when I need a little bit of like space. I need space.
Absolutely. I host the Ladies of the East Mountain Tea, which we do once a week, but I only host it when I'm in follicular ovulation, maybe early luteal. And like, I got an email that was like, hey, who wants to host on this week? I forget what the date was, but I was like, well, not me, because I'm going to be deep luteal and I'm not dealing with the hosting an event in that space. I'm absolutely not it. And so I was like, okay, well, if we have to cancel that week because nobody can host, then that's fine. But I'm not going to put myself out. I'm not going to make myself feel worse. I'm not going to inflame my PMS and endometriosis symptoms to do something. I will be happy to do it the following week, but I'm not going to, so stop putting yourself out. Stop making everything harder for yourself. Embrace, where you are and what you're doing.
Yes, please. And it's a good reminder for us as well. Like we're always constantly reminding each other it's okay to rest. It's okay to relax.
Yeah. You can't deprogram a lifetime of hustle culture programming overnight. So
definitely not. Even though I'm trying. Let's make this faster. One other thing to mention too is that you'll probably be craving a little bit more sugar this time. PMS chocolate, and something that I love about chocolate is real chocolate has magnesium in it. So look for chocolate bars that have 80 or more percent cacao, the CACAO, not the cocoa. And that can also help with PMS because your body's literally saying, I need more magnesium. And it's always going to crave the chocolate over the pumpkin seeds. Mm-hmm. It's just fact. That's just the way it is. So really noticing that you probably will crave more sugar because it's harder for your blood sugar to be balanced in the second phase, especially in the deep luteal. So really be mindful of getting in that protein, that fiber, those healthy fats, really making sure you're eating meals. You're not just carb loading and forgetting to eat, making sure that we have a plan, maybe meal prepping in the first phase of your cycle for the second phase. But that blood sugar balance is key for managing your stress, your cravings. It will also help with your sleep. If you get a lot of insomnia with PMS, or you have a hard time, you're waking up in the middle of the night in that deep luteal as well. So this is key. Eating for your hormones, keep that blood sugar balanced, keep that cortisol balanced, and all the other things we talked about as well.
Blood sugar is so key. We had a certification presentation on sleep in the cycle. And then we had a certification presentation on balancing your blood sugar in your cycle. And I was like, they were referencing each other, not knowing it, but it was just so hand in hand. It was amazing. If you're going to have the sweet treats, have it right after you eat a meal. I know it's hard to say no. I have a hard time saying no to the sweet treats in that deep luteal phase. So rather than going okay, well, I'll have it, a couple of hours after dinner, or I'll have it between dinner and lunch, don't. Have lunch, have the sweet treat right after it so that you've got all that good fat, healthy fibers, proteins to help slow the absorption into your bloodstream. So if you, like me, have a really hard time saying no to sugar, the child was just in our house and she was like, why do you have sugar in the house? Why marshmallows or chocolate or whatever? And it's well, there's dark chocolate. I was like, because I can't say no to sugar. I'm a human being, so I just don't keep it in the house. But I do have dark chocolate. And so what we do is have a meal and then we have some dark chocolate right after the meal. So I can satisfy that sugar craving, enjoy it, but also have that meal to buffer it so that it enters the bloodstreams lower. It doesn't spike your insulin. It doesn't spike your blood sugar issues. And people with PCOS also have extra blood sugar insulin issues. So if you're struggling with that and PMS, definitely make sure that you're paying attention to your blood sugar. But yeah, I mean, sugar cravings are just so normal in this phase. And don't forget the power of a sweet potato.
Mm-hmm.
High fiber, sweet treat makes great chocolate pudding. I do sweet potatoes with cacao, maybe some butter, maybe a little dollop of yogurt in there, spin it up, maybe some cinnamon, some vanilla, maybe a dash of honey if I'm coming out of the holidays and just have an extra hard sweet tooth. But it makes a great chocolate pudding and it's rich in fiber. Or just a roasted sweet potato with a little sprinkle of cinnamon on it as a dessert is also a nice way of helping mitigate it. And then if you still need the cookie, at least you've got some healthy fat and fiber in there to help slow that like cookie sugar absorption. So don't underestimate the power of a sweet potato as a sugar craving reducer.
No, it's so true. I had it last night because I'm heading into period in a few days. And we had turkey burgers and sweet potatoes. And it's awesome. I love even roasting it with coconut oil. I just feel like that even like brings out the sweetness even more. I love chocolate. I put it in my overnight oats, like the cacao powder, the cacao nibs, I love chocolate. I would say one other thing too is after eating, trying to go for a walk after, like even if it's just 5 minutes to help balance that blood sugar. And or if you're having lots of acid reflux, I've been hearing a lot more with my clients lately, if you're there, what you mentioned before, like having the chocolate right after dinner and then going for a 5-minute walk can also help with that too. So just wanted to share because I've been hearing a lot more about that recently too.
Yeah, I love it. Amazing. So I hope one of those 5 easy tips, seed cycling, add in more fiber, add in more magnesium, cut yourself some slack and balance that blood sugar. Super easy things that don't involve hardship, expenses, punishing yourself, anything like that. It's not about taking things away. It's about adding in those super helpful things. So I hope that you can pick one, start with one, just one. Email us, DM us, let us know which one you're going to start with. Post on social media and tag us. Make your announcement. Accountability is helpful. Let us know how it goes. And I hope that this has been a helpful episode for you. Any last words of wisdom, Katie?
I was going to say too, we will share our favorite chocolate bars with you when we post this episode. So if you have a favorite like chocolate or sweet treat that is a little bit healthier, like you mentioned your recipe, share with us and we will share with everybody else too.
I love it. Such a great idea. Perfect. Love it. Thank you so much for listening and for joining us today. We'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.
A big shout out and thank you to our sponsors for today's episode, Period Coaching School and Katie Bressack Wellness.
Thanks to you, our favorite bestie, for listening to the Period Besties podcast, where no topic is TMI. And of course, share this episode with your besties.
Remember to leave us a 5-star review, nothing less than the best for us besties, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
You can follow us on Instagram at Stasha Washburn and at Katie Bressack, or email us at periodbestiespodcast@gmail.com.
Check out more about us at katiebressack.com and periodcoachingschool.com. And of course, check the show notes for free goodies and extras that support this episode.
We'll see you on the next episode.
Bye for now, besties.